Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at a Primal Clash figure, another of these newer Primal Clash that have recently hit Walmart, and it is going to be the SaberTooth Tiger, aka a Smilodon. He looks very cool right there, and taking a look at the box, you can again see SaberTooth Tiger, the Raptor, the Trimetrodon, and Titanus, which we have reviewed all of those others previously, so the only one left in this size range as of right now in these Primal Clash figures is the SaberTooth Tiger, so let's break him out of his box. So there we go, our Smilodon, our SaberTooth Tiger is loose and on the prowl. As you can see, you also get a little handgun, and with a lot of the other ones, they gave you a whole bunch of random guns sitting in it. This one only has the handgun, but there is also a large gun here in his hand, and then you've got a weapon down here on the side, which I believe you can remove from the side here to smack whoever you want. You also have this articulated gun here on the back, so there are quite a few weapons that are actually included on the set itself, not so much separated like a lot of the other ones in this little handgun that you get. So that's one thing that is a little bit cooler, honestly, about this figure, because I feel like the other guns are probably going to get lost with a lot of the other figures if they're separate and there's nowhere to really put them. But with this one, the majority of the weapons are actually included in the set itself, and you don't have to have them separate and choose between them. There's places to put all of them except the handgun. So that's definitely a plus as far as this figure goes. For the human figure himself, he really does look quite nice. Again, I said he's got that gun right there, which actually has a peg here, so you could probably connect it to his back, actually, if you really wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it on here. It's held on with a rubber band, and I'm not going to be playing with them, so I have no intentions or need to really disconnect the gun. As far as articulation goes, you can see the head does move left and right, arm works at the shoulder and at the elbow for joints, the knee, and then the hip, and it's actually on a swivel, so there is a lot of articulation as always with the human figures when it comes to these Lanard Toys figures. You can see that the paint has been applied very nicely, and overall the human figure does look really good, as they always do. And then as we start to disassemble the actual set here, you can see he's kind of got a leash that goes around his neck, kind of a collar type thing, so you can disconnect that. And then the saddle itself you have to pull off from the bottom, which consistently is a pain for me to do because there's a little kind of a peg that holds it there. So I always have to get it past the peg, and I always have the hardest time doing it for some reason. But they do come off. It just takes a little bit of work, and there we go, we got that off. And then you can remove the saddle itself, which, as I said, does have this weapon. And you can see two pegs hold it on here, so you can remove that. You can also remove this gun here that you have. That's also really quite cool. It has a rubber band on it currently, I think, to hold it there, but you can see again pegs on the bottom that you could pull off, so then you could have that disconnected from the saddle as well. So here is our SaberTooth Tiger. So without further ado, let's get a nice closer look. Taking a look at the head sculpt, I am definitely already impressed. I think it really looks nice. The paint applied is really beautiful as well. It's primarily like a light tan type of a coloration, but there's like this dry brushing of a yellow on the top, and although it looks really bright, kind of like a bright yellow on camera, it's not so bright in person. It's a darker yellow, and it really makes it look quite cool. It gives it a very lifelike and a very realistic feel to it. I definitely really like the way that they've dry brushed that paint on. You can see some very nice sculpt work and detailing, especially in the fur on the ears up there. I think that looks really nice in that general area. The detail around the eye looks good as well. Beautifully painted eye. Has a nice gloss also. The teeth and the mouth region look really cool. I love the fact that they have included the gums sticking out, and they are a nice, potentially realistic color. And all the teeth themselves, including the large fangs here at the end of the mouth, all look really nice, and there's no sloppiness. You can see that none of the paint has run from the teeth onto the gums or anything. So again, really good job on something that's a much cheaper toy. They do an absolutely phenomenal job. I'm actually really starting to become a large fan of these Lanard Toys figures. I had no idea previously that they were as good as they are. The Kong Skull Island figures were fantastic, and so were the Rampage figures, and they are the same company that made those, so I kind of wish I could go back in time and re-buy all of those. My son owns a lot of them, but that doesn't help me out as I don't own them, and I kind of wish I could have got them at when they were actually out back then. I did buy the large Kong, but none of the other ones, and I recently picked up actually the large ape from Rampage, so I don't know, maybe I just like giant apes, I don't know. But regardless, anyway, talking about this figure, you can see some very nice sculpt work and detailing. I like the nice rim of black that kind of outlines the mouth. I think that looks pretty good as well. The nose and the overall face area of this figure looks really nice as far as the sculpt work goes. And when you actually look at it straight ahead, he's really giving you quite an evil glare. Looks quite mean. Very nice job done on that. I love these brown stripes that are included. Actually, the overall coloration really is nicely done, and they don't skimp out really anywhere. It kind of runs the entire length of the body until you get to the rear hip area, but I think that's just to give it a little variation and make sure that this coloration wasn't everywhere, and I actually really like the way that that's done. As you start to run down here into the neck, you can see that that fur looks really good. They definitely did a good job of sculpting the fur, and overall you can just see here and there just some sculpting of the fur that sticks out. Some of it's very fine, some of it's a little bit fluffier looking. I think it looks really nice, and there's a lot of musculature, even right there in the neck. You can really get a good idea of the musculature. Even here in the chest, look at the huge chest muscles on this Smilodon, the SaberTooth Tiger, and you can see the hip bone, and you can see the shoulder blade really elaborated, but then you come down and look how insanely muscular the front legs of this animal are. Insanely muscular looking, really nicely done, and the detailing of all the fur and everything also looks really nice as you run down the length of this leg, and the leg just very gradually changes from that light tan to this dark brown in a very realistic way. Even the nails are painted on the feet, so remember that, Mattel. I think that these stripes, these orangish type stripes, look really good as well, and they are outlined by that dark, almost burnt umber type brown. Looks fantastic the way they've done that. And continuing on with that very nice fur detail. Really beautiful work, and there's even some hanging fur here on the stomach, the bottom of the stomach. You actually even get a little hint of fur on the bottom here, on the underside. Really nice. And then coming back up here into the hip area, you can see again that very super muscular leg. Really muscular animal. And you come down into the feet, which are also very nicely sculpted. Again, the nails are painted and look really good as well. And then that very nice furry tail here at the end. Beautiful sculpting of the fur in general. And then looking at this side, it's pretty much the same as the opposing side, but you can get a good idea of how nice it looks. Again, that fur looks beautiful. There's a little bit of hanging fur here on the throat area, and the beautiful striping that runs the length of the body, or at least the majority of the body. Very nice fine looking fur here on the leg, very muscular, again gradually changing to that darker brown on the foot, and then that very nice detailing and sculpt that would run out the length of the body to these rear legs here that are just beyond muscular as well, and that very nice furry tail. So the sculpting of this and the paint and everything applied is really beautiful. As far as the size of our SaberTooth Tiger, from the snout to the tail, you're looking at a little under 6 inches, or about 15 centimeters. And for a height, the highest point is probably the shoulder blade. So you're looking at about 3¼ inches, or a little under 8½ centimeters. For a size comparison, there is our friend the Papa Rex, showing you once again that this is one of the smaller of the Lanard Toys Primal Clash figures, and fits into the same range as the Raptor, the Titanus, and the Trimetrodon. They are all around a very similar size, but again, a very nice size, honestly. I think they're pretty much a perfect size, and for the amount of money that you're going to spend for them, they truly are one heck of a good deal. And as someone recently requested in the comments that for these Lanard Toys figures, to kind of do a size comparison with the human figure himself, there, when they are both standing, that's about how the human figure measures up to the SaberTooth Tiger himself. So a pretty good size comparison there for you guys between the human character and the SaberTooth Tiger. One thing that I will say about this SaberTooth Tiger that's actually kind of interesting is this is the very first one that has no articulation at all. It does say articulated action figure on the actual box, but I think basically what they're getting at when they say that is the human figure is articulated, because previously all of these Lanard Toys figures all had articulated jaws. Every single one of them so far has, but this one does not. I'm not really sure why they chose the route of not giving this thing any type of articulation at all, but it unfortunately does not. I don't really mind, as I don't really want to pose him with his mouth open. I think he looks fine with his mouth closed. But again, some people that might be a bother to if all the other ones do have articulation and this one does not. Regardless, I still think it's awesome. So this is yet another absolutely fantastic Primal Clash figure that makes every single one of them surefire wins so far that I have gone through. There's only one left to review, and that is the Mammoth, which I will get to very, very soon. But so far, for all the smaller ones, I think they are all great. They truly are. But this one specifically, speaking of this one, it is so beautifully sculpted. It honestly really is. It's a very nice looking Smilodon, super highly detailed, and the actual paint applied is incredibly impressive, as there is a lot of paint that has been applied to this, especially with that beautiful striping. I think it looks really, really nice, and they have that very nice dry brushing along the fur that runs along the top of the animal. Not to mention there is just paint all over the place. You've got painted nails, the feet have an alternate paint, which is that darker brown. You've got gum paint, teeth paint, the nose is a slightly different shade of color. Altogether there are many different variations of color included in this, but the sculpt itself is fantastic as well, and I think it really, really is a beautiful figure and an absolutely insane deal for only $7 at Walmart. Plus you get an incredibly nice looking human figure, many different weapons, so if you're looking at this from a playability standpoint, these figures are top notch. They truly are something any child that has any interest in dinosaurs or anything like that will absolutely fall in love with, and I think will go crazy over. But even so, for a collector standpoint, I think they are truly fantastic pieces of art. They really are beautiful looking, and again, as I've mentioned numerous times, really tug at my heart as far as reminding me of Dino Riders from back in the day, something that I loved as a child, so I always love that nostalgic feel when it comes to these Primal Clash figures. So I 110% recommend this SaberTooth Tiger Primal Clash figure from Lanard Toys. So unfortunately, these are not for sale on the Walmart website quite yet, so if you head to your local Walmart and try finding them there, they should be there. They're pretty well stocked at all the Walmarts that I go to, so you've got a good shot at acquiring one of these if you do have a Walmart nearby. Definitely worth the $7, that is without question. A beyond beautiful figure. So head to your local Walmart, see if you can pick one up. I assure you, you will not regret it. And please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.